As we come into these final days of Advent preparation for Christmas, our first reading told us something so important, which is that God is never just a God of the past. So the prophet Jeremiah was telling the people of his own time that your primary point of reference for God's goodness, which was the exodus from Egypt, is no longer going to be your primary point of remembering how good God is, because God will do great things even in our own time. So listen to what he says. He says, "There will come a day when they will no longer say, 'As the Lord lives, who brought us out of the land of Egypt,' but rather, 'As the Lord lives, who brought us up from the land of the north,'" meaning who brought us back from exile to Jerusalem to be able to worship God again in spirit and in truth. And then we go to the gospel where, again, God is doing something new. And he is promising us a new exodus through the coming of his Son. That'll become, again, a new frame of reference in how good God is. And this time, with the coming of Jesus, it's not just to restore his people to a particular land, but to restore them from within. What does the angel say to Joseph? He says, "Mary will bear a son, and you are to name him Jesus." Why? Because he will save his people from their sins. He's going to restore integrity to our hearts, to rework the spiritual geography of our hearts so that we are restored to wholeness. And that's really the fundamental human alienation, is from God and even from ourselves. We're broken on the inside, and Jesus comes to bring healing so that we can live in unity of life, meaning that everything we do can become an act of worship. We don't have to go to a particular place or do a particular thing to worship God in spirit and in truth. Rather, our whole life becomes an act of worship when we are in union with Christ. That means our thoughts, our words, our actions, they all become part of a single offering. And this is what he came to give us. And Jesus' coming is not just in the past, but every Christmas we prepare for a new coming into our hearts. Every year the liturgy is the same, but we are different as people. We approach it with a new perspective, with a new vision, and with the experience of the things that have happened to us over the course of the previous year. And so for each of us, let's remember, God is never just good to us in the past, but rather he's preparing blessings for us in the present and also in days to come, if we are prepared to receive him. So let us continue in these final days of Advent to make a way for the Lord, to make straight his path into our hearts, so as to receive the many blessings that he wants us to have.